Hi, I'm James Governor, co-founder of RedMonk. This is another RedMonk Conversation. Today we have with us Mathew Lodge and Peter Schrammel from Diffblue. And they've just taken an $8 million investment round from Albion to accelerate what they're doing. Now, my interesting question, obviously, from a developer perspective is, what exactly are they doing? So, Mathew, what exactly is Diffblue?
So Diffblue is an AI for code company. What that means is that we make software that writes software. And our first product is Diffblue Cover, which writes unit tests for Java applications completely autonomously.
Okay, well, I guess the question I should ask then to Peter is, how does it work?
Yeah, so Diffblue Cover writes unit tests based on your code. So it analyzes your code base and fully autonomously writes Java unit tests for it. So what is behind it is we use an AI technique called reinforcement learning, which is essentially a probabilistic search in the search space of all possible Java unit tests. And we find those that are most suitable for your code under test. Okay,
great. So Cover is a product that's been out for a while. What's the actual product news that you're announcing today?
Yeah, so in our latest version, we are building upon our unique AI for code features, and because unit testing is such an important thing for enterprises, as a key enabler for delivering high quality software. We identified new features to get even higher value from unit testing. And this includes things like automated refactoring of code that is hard to test, optimized test execution, and powerful reporting.
Okay, so basically building on the foundation that you had as a product, tell me a bit, Mathew, about this question about reporting. I think one of the questions we've got today is where we've talked about developer experience and trying to make things that developers want to use rather than the old world of, paying Oracle a load of money and telling everyone that their folks had to use that. So we're in that was quite a ding on Oracle, wasn't it? But that was the past. Today, we're much more about making developers happy. But when we hear about this reporting, might be, what's that like? Because are we going to start being in a position where the organization is using this to sort of, what's the balance between developer experience and the organizational benefits of reporting?
Yeah, so the reporting is essentially about understanding where you are with unit testing in your applications. And you can view this across the entire estate, so all the projects you have, and you can drill down into individual applications. And what we're telling you is, what is your coverage? But we're also telling you about the application itself. So what parts of the application are untestable? I mean, Peter just mentioned, we've got automated refactoring now as one of the new things that we're shipping, because what we find is that a lot of untestable code in these applications, and our product now knows why it's untestable, and we can fix it for you. We can refactor that. But if you're looking across your applications, you want to know where you stand, and crucially, you want to know where to focus. Where do you want to spend time to improve those applications, or maybe take out complexity so you can get better test coverage and the application becomes less brittle?
Okay. And on that note, actually, I realized I should have asked Pete probably a follow-up question. There's a bit of a jump from developer experience, but you mentioned reinforcement learning. Now, it seems like the new hotness, everyone is large language models. It's all about feeding the beast with LLM. You're doing something different. So can you say a bit about how reinforcement learning is different from LLM and why this approach is beneficial? I mean, you're not generating code like Copilot from GitHub. This is something different. So if you could say a bit about the difference and why it's powerful in this use case.
Yeah, so we have some specific requirements that we noticed over time, like our customers, they don't want to ship their code to some cloud service. So we need to implement a tool using a technology that can run locally within their user environment without letting the code go out to some cloud service. of course, this influenced our technological decisions. So we needed to use something that can really run on a laptop, essentially, or within a CI worker. And so the way it works is it relies fully on your application code, and it iteratively tries to find tests. So it starts by predicting some potentially good tests, then measures how good they are, and then picks the best one and iterates. Okay. And we have only a very, very small time budget for doing that. So usually we aim at creating tests for a method within a second on average. So it needs to be really fast, which is challenging, but we have found a solution for that.
So speed's an interesting one. I think one of the things that we as an industry have, we have this notion that the more test coverage you have, the better. So it's like, oh, you've got to have better test coverage. That's effectively the metric. And the idea that better test coverage and make sure you run all the tests, that can drive cost. I understand that, is that you've been using this product yourselves. What are the implications for, you mentioned CI, what are the implications for testing and cost, certainly in an economic environment we're in, where people are looking for any opportunities to save money? Is there any implication there in terms of test coverage, what testing you do, and the kinds of things that Diffblue can help you understand?
So we've run into this problem ourselves, that over time our code base grew, and we were to a large extent relying on end-to-end tests, and these are notoriously slow, which drives up your CI costs and also increases the time developers have to wait for to get feedback from their CI runs. So what we pushed then was writing more unit tests, obviously, because they run much faster. So this reduces CI time. But this was not enough. So we also needed to make a selection of only those tests that are really necessary to run for a particular PR. Because there are lots of tests that test part of the code that are not really impacted by the PR. And there are only a few that you actually really need to have to run.
Okay, so you can be a lot more granular about your testing strategy.
Much more targeted. To do really only those things that are absolutely necessary. And this is a capability that we have packaged now into a feature that we call Diffblue Cover Optimize, and make it available to our customers. So essentially, it reduces the time for developers that they have to wait for feedback and CI runs. This is the main driver for productivity, because it reduces context switches, etc.
Yeah, absolutely.
And so in our own usage, this is essentially half the time that we need for test running, which is a huge improvement.
And that has an implication on cost as well, because if
it has also an implication on cost, obviously. Yeah.
Okay, so half the time and ideally half the cost. Okay, that's any Java code base? Does this include Spring as well? So basically all of those gnarly enterprise apps?
This includes in particular Spring, because most of our customers are Spring users. So our tool is particularly good at that.
Great. Okay. So I guess I would say, Mathew, perhaps we should sum up here. What are the big you've announced new funding, a new version of the product, or at least some enhancements. What are the key, 3 takeaways in terms of your news today? And also, if I'm someone at an enterprise watching this video, wondering about whether this might benefit them, how can people engage with you? How can they get hold of Cover? Is it a download? Do they have to talk to a salesperson? So what are the top 3 things, and how can people learn more about your product?
Yeah, I guess the top 3 things to take away are, first of all, that this is real and it works. There are tools out here that can write automatically code, and in particular unit test code, and they will work with your applications, and you'll get good test coverage. And that's really a thing that can be done these days. And then secondly, the new capabilities around cutting your time in CI. So cutting the time and cutting the cost in CI. In our case, it saves us 50%. right? So it's halved our cost of CI. And that's a big improvement. And then if you take a look at refactoring, essentially what we're doing is moving beyond writing unit tests for you and going back and fixing your code automatically again, to make it easy to use. So those are really three takeaways that you want. If you want to try this, there's a couple of different options. You don't have to talk to a salesperson. You can go and try the IntelliJ version, the IntelliJ plugin, if you use IntelliJ IDE. You can go to the marketplace. There's Diffblue cover called Community Edition. You can just download and install that, and you get a limited number of tests per day, but basically you can run it against your test classes and you can try it yourself. You can see what it does. There's also a trial that you can sign up for on the website. You just need your email address, so we can send you a key to turn it on and the link to the download. And you can try it yourself, and you can try out the command line version. So if you don't use IntelliJ, or if you want to try out some of the CI features, you can just do that.
Great. Okay. Well, I think that at the moment, as I say, everyone has large code bases. They're all trying to think about how they can improve and modernize them. So yeah, tool sounds really interesting. And on that note, I'd like to say thank you, Mathew. Thank you, Peter. And thanks to all of you that are watching. If you've got any questions, comments, let me know. Click like, all of that stuff. Share this with your Java code base friends. If you have any questions, like I say, put them in the comments and share the video. But on that note, thanks everyone.
Thanks, James.
Thank you.